Kaya Wanju. Hello and welcome, busy parents. This short webinar is all about why won't my child listen? Hopefully, you get some great ideas to support your family to connect well and to feel like your kids are listening to you. So, I want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land where we meet, the Whadjuk Noongar people, and pay my respects to elders past and present. I'd also like to acknowledge you, busy parents, carving out this time. Thank you for everything that you do and everything that you had to do just to find this short 15, 20 minutes. This webinar is based on hand-in-hand parenting, which is a parenting approach really deeply foundational to that approach is the idea of listening. So we're going to learn some more about that. So the factors that make it hard for your child to listen is one of the key messages. The second is how to help them listen. And the third is that we need support. So those are the three key ideas from this short webinar. Let's have a look at each of the three of them in turn. Firstly, why do children not listen? It is really difficult for us parents. We're just trying to get through the day. But the reality is that our children are also trying to get through the day with their own agendas and developmental stages. So, child developmental norms, it's really appropriate that a 2 or a 3 or even a 4-year-old or even sometimes a 15-year-old will find it difficult to focus on what our priority is over what their priority is. Also, things like auditory processing can make it difficult for a child to listen and then act on what we've requested of them. It may be that our child simply needs more information. They're refusing to do something, they're not listening to us because they don't understand yet what it means to leave the towel on the floor for days and days. And that takes a long time. And for some of us, it never comes. But that need for information, it can be really helpful if we just give our children information about whatever we're requesting of them. Please don't, please don't pull the cat's tail. It hurts her and she won't enjoy being with you. Um, that little piece of information may be enough for your child to respond to what you're requesting. But often it's our child's response to stress that's causing them to not be able to listen. So, literally, when our system is under great stress, literally, we're much more able to listen to very high pitched and very low pitched noise rather than regular tones. But also, as I'm sure you know, just being stressed makes it difficult for us to think well, for our brains to be switched on. And feeling disconnected also is a many layered reason as to why our children won't listen. If they're not feeling connected to us, they're much less likely to want to engage with us and to want to support us in our wishes. But also feeling disconnected, I'm sure you've had that experience yourself. You just don't feel very motivated or really much like doing anything at all. Now, the final point around why our children don't listen sometimes is a really interesting one and one that hand-in-hand parenting goes into in a great deal of depth. And it's this physiological need to recover from emotional challenges. We don't have time in this short workshop to go into this in a great deal, but it's a really profoundly helpful idea when we understand that our children's nervous systems can kind of get clogged up with the emotional challenges that they've faced, with old hurts, uh, and that in fact their inability to listen and their big feelings can be part of that need to recover from those old hurts. So there's lots of reasons why our children might not listen. So what can we do to help meet their needs so that they're in a great place to be able to listen? There's some key points here that I want to share with you. And really simply, the first one is connect before you correct or direct. Our bodies and our brains are really fueled by connection. When we bring connection first, instead of barking orders from across the room like drill sergeants, as we all do sometimes, when we bring connection first, it really allows our child's brain to integrate fully and to work at its best. So, Dr. Dan Siegel is a neuroscientist and an expert and a speaker in parenting. You might like to look up his hand model of the brain, which really explains a little bit about how the brain works. And essentially, we've got the brain stem, we've got the limbic system in the center of the brain, and then the prefrontal cortex is this part here. That's the part that allows our child to listen and to cooperate. But if the limbic system doesn't sense safety, our child flips their lid and they're not able to listen and they're definitely not able to cooperate. So the final point here, again, is connecting before you correct with bringing the limit. Move in, offer eye contact and warmth, and really let your child know that you're there with them. Often hearing the words is not enough, and they really need us to walk up and be right next to them. When my child was small, we came up with transmission via hug. So when I would ask him 43 times to put his shoes on and he didn't hear me, I would sometimes remember to walk up, put my arm around him, look at him and say, "Time to put your shoes on." And invariably he would then go and put them on. What do children need? They actually need us to bring that limit. So young children's brains are not fully developed. They just don't actually have the brain architecture to manipulate us, but certainly they also don't have the brain architecture to be able to just do as we say because it makes sense. So understanding that our child is having a problem rather than being a problem is really helpful for framing that situation. So bringing those high expectations with warmth and empathy. And as I suggested before, bringing that limit with our whole selves. Our children also need us to reach for them rather than trying to teach them. So again, it's that limbic system, knowing that even the youngest child is going to respond to a smile, warm eye contact, gentle touch. Our verbal communication actually only makes up 7% of our communication. What messages are we sending? And how is this impacting our little one's nervous system? So if we know that 93% of our communication is nonverbal, we can then reach literally with our bodies, with our warm tone, with our eye contact for that little person and engage with them. Much of our relationship will be built on us providing guidelines. And if we're able to do this with warmth and humor and connection and care, that's going to build really strong bonds. This approach is not permissive, though. We suggest bring limits, bring them early, bring them often, bring them close, and bring them warm. Now, children also need us to fill that emotional cup so that they are able to access that intelligence that we talked about before. So rather than their lid being flipped, that brain is integrated with a full emotional cup, really ready to go. Hand in Hand suggests special time for this, which is a tool that I really love. It's very simple. It's non-directive, child-led, delighted, scheduled playtime. So we schedule it in regularly. It might just be 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Set the timer and just offer them our full attention and delight in whatever they bring. An important part of this process is allowing time for feeling so that if they do get upset or sad, we don't shush them or move quickly and distract them, but just see this as an opportunity in the same way an old friend might go out for dinner with you and you might share some big things that are happening. This is a space for them to bring whatever's going on for them. The magic in special time, the special sauce is actually you. It's not what you do. That's not what's important. And we see this as a connection vitamin. Now, children also need our empathy, our listening, our validation, our care. Hand in hand, parenting has a tool for this called stay listening. It's great for in the moment when things are going wild. We just stay, we listen, we become the safety monitor for keeping everyone and everything safe. We don't try to distract or fix or rationalize. And we just stay with our child until they're finished getting that upset out. Another thing that can be really helpful for our child to listen more effectively is play. Um, Play is the work of childhood. It is the thing that really helps our child feel safe, really allows them to access that full intelligence. Some games to try when they're not listening, cooperating, or when things have gone a bit wonky. Things like giving instructions in a silly voice. I have told you to put your towel on the towel rack. So we can be giving those instructions in a favorite character's voice. But often I find singing in that way or being really loud also helps us because we're feeling quite frustrated. So it allows us to get out some of that frustration in a helpful way instead of in an unhelpful way. Another thing we can do, if our child's just a little bit wild, and we want to bring them back in to the connection with us, is 1,000 kisses. So I'm going to give you 1,000 kisses. Oh, nope, he got away. Come back. Same with girls who do that need 1,000 kisses, or girls who do that get turned upside down. Racing against the parents can help our children listen to, right, who's going to get first? Get dressed first? Is it the kids or is it the grown-ups tonight? The terrified game has been one that's worked really well for little people in my life, where they're getting dressed and we're terrified of the hand coming out of the sleeve, and we're terrified of the feet coming out of the pant leg. So the terrified game can be fun. Other games that can just really help our children feel connected to us are things like pillow fights and sock fights, where we collect all the old socks, all the mismatched socks, and turn them into kind of snowballs. Children adore this kind of roughhousing and wild play, and it really builds that bridge of connection and allows them to feel so connected to us that they want nothing more than to clean up with us, or to listen and head off to bath time or whatever it might be. It's not always that clean and simple, but it can work beautifully. What do parents need? So this is the third point. We've looked at why children don't listen. We've gone through a whole bunch of ideas around supporting them to listen. But finally, we have needs in the mix too. There's lots of practices that can help us. Self-care, of course, is the basis of that. Now, self-care is a mixed bag because there are many parents, and I talk with them all the time, who scoff at this idea, and I get it because we are so busy. The idea of going for a massage is just wildly inappropriate. We're too busy for that. Having said all of that, even just small acts, integrating that self-care throughout your day can just give you that breather to allow you to reconnect to yourself and to be at your best when you're engaging with your kids. And in the same way, this mindfulness practice, the parental pause, Maggie Dent calls it, you can practice stopping when things are a little bit tricky, pausing and taking some deep breaths, and then re-engaging with the play button. Now, hand-in-hand parenting teaches another fantastic tool for parents, listening partnerships. I highly recommend joining a workshop with Miralinga or having a look around on the Hand in Hand Parenting website to learn more about listening partnerships. They're the best self-care tool I know for parents, really supportive. It's just a regular meeting with another parent where we exchange equal time, listening to one another without distracting, without fixing, without judging, and where it's completely confidential. And at the end of our time, the timer goes off and we swap. And then we get to listen to another parent who's bringing everything they've got to parenting. Now, if that feels a little bit way out there, which it can do, then journaling can be a really lovely way to to put our ideas and our thoughts and our feelings down and to really start to create a cohesive narrative of our own experience. And that research tells us is a really wonderful way for us to find a sense of clarity and a sense of meaning and purpose in our parenting and a real sense of calm and groundedness around the choices we make as parents. So those are some of the things that can be nourishing and supportive. And I also really encourage you to just think about what helps you feel good, what helps you feel engaged with your children, what helps you feel connected with yourself and with your kids. And those are the two things that are going to most impact your children being able to listen and cooperate is, are you feeling connected and congruent, I guess you'd say, where the outside and the inside match with yourself? And are you feeling connected with your children? So there's lots of resources here. You can go to Miralinga's website to get this handout. If you're struggling as a parent, as so many of us are, there are people, there are organisations out there whose sole job it is to support you. So please, please, please reach out for that support. There's also lots of information, the Raising Children website, Hand in Hand Parenting website, and lots of others there that can really give you some nurturing, supportive information to help you have just a better hour and a better day with your child. So to finish up, we looked at some of the reasons why children don't always listen or cooperate. We looked at key ways to support your child to listen and cooperate, things like connect before you correct, bringing the limit, reaching for that child rather than, talk, 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 filling their cup through things like special time, listening with love through things like stay listening, where we stay and listen to whatever is coming up for them, and playful limits. So actually setting a limit in a playful way, which is a particular skill, but a really, really profoundly helpful one as a parent. And finally, we cannot do all of this when we're pouring from an empty cup. We really need to find ways to enjoy our days with our kids. And these are some of the suggestions that we at Miralinga have got for you. Self-care, mindfulness, finding support like listening partnerships, and reflective spaces like journaling. Thank you so much, parents. I'd love to ask you to reflect now on what you're going to take with you from listening in to this short little webinar and any insights that you might have. I'd love to ask you to fill in the evaluation form. There's a link in the description. Miralinga is part of the Southwest Metropolitan Parenting Service. We offer funded parenting workshops and events. That means they're free, funded in the Southwest Metro area of Perth. We'd love to see you at a workshop. Hand in Hand Parenting features highly for us. Also, circular security parenting, bring up great kids, protective behaviours, lots and lots of great workshops there to support you as you support your children. Thank you so much for your hard work for your children. We really know how hard parents work, and we know that that work is so vital. So thank you.